Hey folks, I've probably talked to you about grippers before, and most of you who are watching this might be familiar with exercise grippers. Now the ones that I like to use are from Iron Mind, and they're called the Captains of Crush. And these are great grippers, but the primary problem with them is that once you get kind of good at the grippers, you start to have to carry around 2 or 3 of them in order to get a good warm-up and then working sets and then a challenge. The idea is that you warm up with kind of a lighter grip, and then you have a challenge where it's something that's about as hard as you can possibly close. And then you can also do some working sets where it's hard to close them, but you can close them from between 3 and 10 reps. So normally, if you were going to go on the road, or if you just were starting to buy them, you'd have to buy more than one set of grippers. You might have an easy set of grippers, like these, which are the sport grippers, to warm up with, or the trainers maybe. And these you can close a bunch of times. But once you got done warming up, you would then need to graduate to more difficult grippers. Now right now I'm working toward closing these, which are the Captains of Crush 3. And I'm a little ways away yet. But they gave me an idea, which is as you increase the length of the spline here, the handle, you would make the job of closing it a little easier. The other thing some of you may have noticed if you use grippers like this is that they have fairly aggressive knurling and they can beat your hands up pretty bad. But I've found an interesting solution to some of these problems. Number one, allowing you to work up to a gripper you can't close yet. Number two, to save your hands if you're doing a lot of volume. Number three, to make one gripper basically the equivalent of more than one gripper, maybe 3 or 4 grippers, by changing the resistance. And how I do that is I use this stuff. It's cheap, it's called flexible PVC pipe. I use the 3/4 of an inch size, and I cut it into about 4-inch pieces like this. You can also use this as a bending aid when you're bending nails. Works great, and it keeps you from having to wrap every nail. But the cool thing about this stuff is it will fit directly on and hold nice and tight to these handles. And if we put it about halfway up, even a gripper you can't normally close, you can then close. So you can turn a number 3 gripper into something that you could use for working sets just with $1 or $2 of flexible PVC. And the cool thing is you can go from here, and then as this gets easy, you can twist this up a ways, and this creates a more difficult gripper the higher it is on the gripper. And even with the 3s, which are very, very difficult to close, there's no hand abrasion. So basically, just with the twist, you can go from doable, like these are, even though they're number 3s that I couldn't normally close, and as you go higher up, it gets harder and harder. Like at this setting, it's unlikely that I can close it. See, I can't close that. But once I could close it here, then I'd be ready to take the gloves off and try some challenges with the normal number 3s. Other things you can do, you can use these grippers. A lot of people don't do it, but you can use them upside down. And I think upside down training is nice. It does a little bit more for your index finger and your thumb if you do an upside down gripping routine. But as you can see, if you have reasonably strong hands, you could jump right into one of the high level grippers. And with this stuff, you can vary it and train up to the point where you can actually close this. Hope this helps you folks. Highly recommend the Captains of Crush grippers, and I highly recommend checking out a few pieces of flexible PVC. Happy lifting.